Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Table and Plate Project Delta podcast. Each place has its own culture and vibe, and you're joining me, Dr. Ellen Harris, as I learn, explore, discover, experience, and talk about food and culture in the Mississippi Delta. Today, I'm so happy to say good morning to Rockiell or Rockwoods, Director of the Gulf States Regional Office, which covers Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida for the National Center for Appropriate Technology. I've run into this brother on several occasions at various meetings and workshops and have always wanted to know more about what he does with farmers and especially Black farmers. So without further ado, welcome, Rock. Please share with us a little bit about yourself and what you do through NCAT.
Hi, my name is Rockiell Woods. I work with a lot of, I work for the National Center for Appropriate Technology, and we work with farmers across multiple states. Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, as you mentioned earlier. But we provide information, technical assistance to those farmers in whatever area of agriculture that they need. There's a need, at least. Whether you are a vegetable grower or a livestock producer, we provide that information to any problems that you may need. Our organization is designed to assist farmers with all types of problems. And if you have a problem with, you have questions, you can always reach out to our website at atra.ncat.org. Or we have a brochure we have over 400 brochures that we've written on practical information to share with a lot of the farmers. A little bit about me. I have a farming background. I grew up on a family farm.
Okay.
I went to college. I went to Alcorn State University, and I got a BS in Ag Business and a Master's in Ag Economics.
Okay.
And with that education, I worked for the Alcorn State Extension Program for about 10 years. Then I came here with NCAT for about 8 years now.
Okay, so you're an Alcornite.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so what part of Mississippi are you from?
I'm originally from a small town in the Delta called Shaw, Mississippi.
I know where that is. That's right up the road from Greenville.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Oh, so, and you know, it's amazing what a small world it is because you're a cousin to one of my former students. And now friends, yes. And I was so amazed by that. And I remember Kawandra came and visited me in Greenville one day when she and her mother were on her way to Shaw.
Okay. Yeah.
And so when I saw that notice on Facebook, I was so shocked. You know, I thought y'all were just playing, you know, saying cuz. And then when I found out, no, that's your real cousins.
Correct. Yes.
It's amazing how small things are. So with your work with NCAT, I've seen you at a couple of workshops. So you partner with other folks to do workshops?
Yeah, we partner with other cooperatives or other institutions, whether it be Alcorn or other nonprofit organizations, to provide technical assistance to them. Sometimes, you know, someone just needs an agriculture component to speak to the farmers. Mm-hmm. So someone, either me or someone in my staff, would come out and share the information that's needed.
Okay. So what kind of advice would you give to someone just starting out or who's interested in starting to farm or who's been farming, but really hasn't gotten off the ground with it.
Okay, so that's something that's a call that we receive in our office a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have people that are interested in farming because they've inherited some land or have retired and want to start a farm, or have retired, moved back to the home place, and wants to start farming again because that's something that they feel like they left the farm to establish something else or come back to the farm. Or people that's just gotten into farming and not knowing the right niche to be involved with. So I did a blog on NCAT about, I want to say close to a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to sit down and think about the name of the blog. Is if you go on our NCAT page, you can find it. It's So You Want to Start a Farm.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in to talk about a lot of different things, but it's about 4 things that I wanted to share with a person if they want to start a farm. The first thing is, where is your heart?
Okay.
So when you ask the question, where is your heart, it kind of makes you feel like what it feels like to be a farmer.
Right.
Do you like just animals, or do you want to just produce a garden? Do you like plants? Do you have access to the land, or do you just love access to the land? Do you like working with people? Do you like just good food? You know, everything has to have the heart involved in it in order for you to be successful. You got to have that passion and that focus and commitment.
Right.
Because if your heart is not in it, it's not going to be successful. You just can't be doing it just because.
Yeah.
So that first question, where is your heart? The second question I always tend to ask farmers is, where is your money? You know.
Yeah.
You know, it costs to farm. If you have animals, you're going to have to, whether you're purchasing the animal, or whether you're purchasing land, or whether you're purchasing anything you're going to need to operate on that farm, you got to know where that source of funding is going to come from.
Exactly.
How are you going to get it? Whether you're going to get it from someone else, or whether you're going to, borrow the money. You got to know where your money is going to be coming from.
Okay.
In order to do that. And another question I always tend to ask is, what are your assets? When you think about physical assets, do you have land? Do you have a shed, for your animals? Do you have a tractor?
Mm-hmm.
Barns or buildings, anything like that? What are your assets that you have already that's going to, if you had to use your assets to allow you to get the money, or
exactly,
certain things you have to think about. What do I have right now to help me get started?
Okay.
So those are a lot of things, and the last one is where is your mind? Farming is one of those jobs that there are deadlines, but very short ones. The deadlines is going to be, do I feel like planting today? Nah, I don't want to. I can skip today. You can't do that because there's only certain windows of opportunity. Oh, it's too hot to plant. Oh, but then we're not. The weather comes. Do I want to go out here and fix this fence? No, this animal's gonna get out. Then the animal gets out.
Exactly.
Do I want? Where's your mind? You got to be focused. You got to be disciplined, because when it comes to planting, you have that small window of opportunity. Here in Mississippi, we can establish about 3, maybe 4 planting seasons, depending on what you're planting. And we don't have harsh winters, at least besides this year when we had that cold weather.
Yes, that horrible ice and
yes. But even that's a rare occurrence here.
Right.
So when you think about and I had a friend of mine who had cattle, and he called me. He was like, "Man, I think the cow just had a calf. I think it'll be all right." And I was like, "Well, man, why don't you just bring the calves and put it in the barn?" He's like, man, animals are designed to, once they, they adapt to this weather. And sadly to say, he came out the next morning, the calf had froze. So,
right,
because of, his lack of not wanting to go out and he made a justification for it, he had to suffer consequences from that.
Mm-hmm.
You look at losing a calf, and now,
right.
It's just certain things we got to be equipped for. Farmers always need to watch the weather,
Right.
Farmers need to always try to be on top of these things, on top of market trends. First, you got to have a market. They always told me you got to sell before you produce, because if you produce and you have no one to sell it to, then you're gonna have to eat it all or give it away.
Right.
So
right.
having that market in place is most important when I'm talking to a lot of folks. Okay.
So when what is the thing that's very interesting? Especially the you start with the heart and you end with the mind. Those are two things that you can't really necessarily touch or feel, but they are intricate parts of doing this type of work. Besides the actual physical having money and assets, that I think that's really that's a very good set of principles for people to understand before they enter or try to farm. So what I was getting ready to ask you, so what do you think is, when you think of those four questions and your experience with farmers, what are the biggest challenges that small farmers and small Black farmers have?
Working with, I would say some, but not all. But the heart and mind is what I'm working with a lot of the farmers, because it's easy to get them the finances. It's easy for them to lease land, from my perspective. But when I get you the finances, are you going to be disciplined to it? Are you going to see what I've worked with some farmers, and I've worked with limited resource farmers, and the mindset has to be there. Not for all. Now I want to be clear. I'm not talking about all, but just some that I've seen that the mindset has to be there. You're gonna have to treat this like a business. I mean, like a when I say treat it like a business, sometimes you don't have an off day. But you can't just say when you get this money, okay, I want to, what's in my farm plan, this money is designed for that farm plan. You can't use this money for something else, because when your farm plan comes up, when your farm comes up in the red or in the negative, then how are you going to overcome that if the farm is designed to make the money that is designated for it? So keep staying disciplined has been one of the key challenges to a lot of the farmers. Reinvesting back into your farm. You had a pretty good crop this year. You reinvest into it. It pays, because most farms are successful after 5 years. So that's a lot of time to be putting a lot of hard work, sweat equity into that farm, but not to be successful.
Okay. And I met you once at a workshop on high tunnels. Just switching gears here a bit. What are your thoughts on high tunnels? I've been thinking of doing something like that, but where I live in Greenville, I started off with this little, what I call a frou-frou. I wouldn't even call it a high tunnel, but it's like a little, it looks like one, but it's like a little greenhouse type vibe. And but I said to myself, I didn't want to get even a medium-sized high tunnel until I really kind of tested the waters. And so I put this thing up, and the first big wind that came through here almost blew the darn thing away. And so some guys helped me prop it up, and they put they actually put a center pole inside to reinforce it, because the frame part, the wind actually bit part. It was that PCP piping, and so that helped a lot, the way they reinforced it. And thank goodness they did, because after this big ice storm we just had, my practice is to look out at my greenhouse before I go to bed, and then first thing in the morning I look out at it. And so one night I looked out at it and looked fine. The next morning I looked out, and the front was crashed in with these humongous pieces of ice on it, and I couldn't even get out there because there was so much ice on the ground. And then when I finally got out there, thank goodness they had put that pole in the center, because that kept that part of the greenhouse together, and my raised beds were, behind that pole area. So they were saved, but the front of the thing was crushed. And it took everything I could do to break up the ice to get it off, and so now my little greenhouse is just it's hanging, but it's wobbling. So I'm just wondering, do you really think high tunnels for this part of Mississippi are good? Because I've noticed that there's lots of, wind and...
Right. So the Delta are the flatlands. So we really don't have any barriers when it comes to wind or tornadoes or even bad weather. So high tunnels would be challenging if you're in that particular type of business. But they could be profitable also. I mean, I know a guy who's successful in raising transplant, that he sell okra or things like that. I know another guy who's successful with his high tolerance. He raised pea shoots and different types of plants. Pea shoots, when they get, I think, put on the second or third leaf, I'm sure. Then he kind of cuts them and does a mix and sell them to chefs. You get as much as I want to say $30 a pound. So they are good, and then you can grow out of them also, depending on how large you want to get with those items. They could be very good, and they're very useful in the Delta, because in the Delta we get a lot of aerial sprays and drifts. So you can roll the sides down, and you won't get any type of, if you want to do a sustainable greenhouse, you won't get the drift or anything like that could contaminate your vegetables or even kill them, poison and things like that. It's a self-sustaining containable unit. So, I would encourage it. It's going to be challenges. So you should always keep, that spare money on the side to replace the plastic.
Where is that money?
Replace that frame, right? The frame, you got to keep that spare there. And it is a business, you always have insurance.
Exactly.
Insurance is one of the things that a lot of the farmers tend not to get. There are different types of insurances out there for whatever you want to get involved with. Different offices offer. One of the things we were just promoting with the risk management agency is whole farm revenue protection. It protects the whole farm. Depending on the size of the revenue protection plan you want to get. So that's the type of insurance you can get. But it's always important to maintain that farm. Like, as a treatment as a business, having insurance in an event those unforeseen things tend to happen.
Right.
It helps keeps the farm alive. It keeps security for you. It helps you to continue your profitable lifestyle that you're developing and that you're receiving from that farm. So,
okay. All right. So, if you were going to say to someone who's just starting out, and they have the heart, they have the money, they have the assets, and their mind is on point. Is there anything else that you would end with in terms of advice for them?
Always research.
Okay.
Always research what you want to do. One of the things I never tell a farmer when they have all of those things, and I've met farmers that have all of it and really have the mind to do it, but they want me to tell them what to grow. Or, because if I told you, okay, go out and plant, and you plant peas. Peas, purple hull peas are a cash crop.
Mhm.
Well, if you got a bad back and you hate bending over, that's going to be hard. The money is there, but if you have a bad back and you don't want to bend over and pick those peas, or if I tell you to, watermelons, picking up watermelons are heavy also. A lot of stoop labor, that's what they call it. You're doing a lot of bending.
Right.
So, but you can make it just as much as in planting the crop is planting flowers in that greenhouse. The flower industry is one of the largest industries in the world.
Mhm.
So planting flowers is not that labor intensive to me, I would say, as planting an acre of purple hull peas or butter beans.
Okay.
Okay. So just to do that research is important. Or raising cattle versus raising, let's say, a goat.
Okay.
We know that the cattle, long as there's grass, they're going to graze. They're not as curious as a goat, because a goat will stick his head through the fence holes. He likes to climb. They're very curious animals. They're browsers. They like to graze upwards. Do your research. What would you like to start your farm?
Okay. All right. Well, Rock, I really appreciate you spending time with me, answering my questions, and I love your 4 questions. Where's your heart? Where's your money? What are your assets? And where's your mind? And then combine all that with doing research. So I appreciate you spending these few moments with me this Saturday morning. And I just want to say take care and thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.